Okay, this is the chapter 2 of the syllabus. Okay, what does risk management do? So the risk management is actually a structured approach that help organization identify, assess, and respond to the uncertainty that may impact their objective. So here how it works, actually is providing, framework. The first one is providing framework for dealing with a rating such as uncertainty. So which means that risk management offer a structured way to handle risk instead of reacting randomly. So example, like in the financial institution, they use the risk assessment tool to predict market fluctuation and prepare for the economic downturns. And then when we look into this, encouraging forward thinking through, horizon scanning, like imagination of the future through so-called horizon scanning, and at the same time learn from the past experience. So this means using imagination and foresight to anticipate future challenges and opportunity. So the example, the technology company study emerging trend like AI and blockchain, prepare for industrial shift. So and then the integrations, the provide an invaluable framework within which horizontal scanning can integrate into business as a normal, which means risk management should integrate risk management into business as usual. So the risk management actually they should not be as afterthought, right? It should be embedded into daily operation. For example, like airline business continually assess safety risks, update protocol as a part of normal procedures. And then also, uh, it's a way of consciously thinking about change rather than just waiting to do it. So it's a promote proactive thinking about change actually. So instead of just reacting to problem, risk management actually help. Um, are you okay? Uh, okay, so we got problem here. Okay, so where do we start? Okay. So the promote proactive thinkings about change. Instead of just reacting to the problems, risk management actually help organization plan and adapt flexibly. So example like retail companies preparing for recessions by identifying supply chains rather than waiting for a crisis to hit. And then everyone's provide a common language for dealing with the uncertainty. So actually, they're creating a common language for dealing with the uncertainty. Risk management ensures that everyone's in the organization understand and communicate risk in the same way. Example like, for instance, like in banking, terms like credit risk, operational risk are standardized um, across department to avoid confusions. And then involve everyone's and everything throughout an organization, which is risk management is not just responsible for the top management. It's the effects of every level of function. Like example, if you see the warehouse worker need to manage safety risk, just as a financing need to assess the investment risk. So risk management is not just about avoiding a problem; it's about helping organization grow and thrive despite uncertainty. By taking structures and approach a proactive approach, business can make smarter decisions, minimize distractions, and build long-term resilience. So, what is the risk management? What is the risk management framework? So, risk management framework actually is a set of criteria detecting how businesses should be structured and monitors to protect their assets. Is a framework term. So the framework, what is the risk management framework term? So a risk framework actually is a structured approach that guide organization in managing risk effectively. So actually it's outlined why risk management is important in terms of and how it should be done. So the process of how it should be done. So the key component of risk framework actually is by defining, the risk management philosophy and processes, and describing the risk management philosophy like why and process how. So why actually is the risk management help organization make informed decisions and prevent for uncertainty, whereby how it's provide method for identifying, tracking, monitoring, and reviewing risks. So, for example, here, a manufacturing company may have a risk framework to manage supply chain disruptions by identifying alternatives. So, the establishing a role and responsibility, which means that effective risk management actually require clear ownership of it. Risk as the coordinator, which means oversee the organization, is the risk management program. And then risk owner assigned to each risk to ensure it's managed properly. For example, in the construction project, the site manager might be the risk owner for the safety hazard, while the financial officer manages financial risk. So we can say that uh, by providing a reporting process for the strategy and operation risk, which is ensures that risks are at the different level. You mean that strategy and operational are reported consistently. Like example, a bank may have a system to regularly report cybersecurity risk to the senior management. And then it's also 1, 2, 3, detailing appropriate process reporting strategy and operational risk, which is we promote, all these things, we reportings. And then last but not least is providing ongoing continuing improvement through the evaluation of the objective and result in the risk management process, whereby promote continuing improvement, which is the framework includes regular evaluation of risk management processes to improve effectiveness. Example for instance, like airline punya business, an airline review past accident and update its risk management strategy to enhance passenger safety. So a risk framework actually is essential to organization to manage uncertainty systematically. So we want to manage systematically. Yeah, that is the meaning of the framework, the guideline. Yeah? That's why I also come up with the guideline. So because of they want you to manage uncertainty systematically. So actually, it's defined like the responsibility, the establishment reporting structures, and the promote of continuous improvement to ensure risks are effectively handled. Without a proper risk management framework, organization may struggle to respond to the challenging effective because in a risk framework, they teach you how to manage risk. It's just not like if you have risk, what's next need to be done. Sometimes if you don't have a guideline, you might handle risk a different way. But if you have the guideline, which is the expert come out with the framework and the guideline, so easy for you to follow and how risk should be handled. Huh? Okay, so in terms of the element, the key element in the risk manager and business operation, and then business. Um, I just check this one first. Okay, the key element in risk management and the business operation, the first one is the business operation, is mean that uh, I think there is running. Okay. In business operation, the day-to-day activity that keep an organization running effectively. So the risk management ensures that disruption, supply chain issues, financial risks do not affect business continually. For instance, like in the logistic company, must manage risks related to the fuel price fluctuations. And okay, like example, a logistic company must manage risk related to the fuel price fluctuation and delivery delays. So this is a few example of the terms of business operation. But on the reporting mechanism, actually it's the process of communicating risk within the organization. So effective reporting allow management to make informed decision and take the correction action. For instance, like a cybersecurity risk report ensures that the IT department is aware of the potential threat. And then the organization structure, which is a strong risk-aware culture, help employee proactively identify and mitigate risk. Mm. Okay, you still listen. Okay, you still listen. Okay, you still listen to my voice. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, okay.
Huh?
Yes,
Still okay, nah?
yes, clear, yes.
Okay. So, where we organization culture is it? Okay, a strong risk-aware culture actually help an employee proactively identify and mitigate risk. So based on my experience, when I implement the enterprise risk management within my organization, what I did is that I will have a more awareness program with the staff, actually just to navigate the risk culture within the staff within the staff, because in order for us to execute like a risk management risk management structure within the organization, We have to make sure all staff participate and understand about how important risk. So everyone is become risk owners. So I have do a lot of program to cultivate them to make sure that each of them have the risk culture. It's a very important before we start doing some sort of a risk framework before we embed any risk framework in the organization. If the people are not aware about the risk, the problem is, the mentality of people when you ask them, but they do not understand what actually they are doing, they are become resistant. They are very difficult to accept any instruction given. So that's why they need to understand first the how important the risk that we need to manage. So that the culture is a very important in make sure the organization can apply the framework that we want to that we want that we want to apply within the organization. And that is how important organization culture. And then the workforce skills and capability. Employee need to proper training and knowledge to identify and manage risks. So, for example, like financial analysis must be skilled in risk assessment technique to make a sound investment decision. And then planning and performance management process whereby strategic planning align risk management with the business goal. Example, a retail company planning and expansion must assess risk related to the market demand and competition. With regard to the budget and resourcing, which means the organization must allocate funds, resources to manage risk effectively. So, which means that in IT company invest in the cybersecurity software to mitigate data breaches. And then support infrastructure, which is include system and technology that help manage risk, which is let's say the hospital use electronic health record to reduce medical error. And then the standard and legislation and regulation requirement, which is business must comply with the legal and industry standard to avoid penalty. So let's say a food manufacturer follow like halal certification requirement to meet market expectation, and then the organizational and governance structures and the and organization structures, which is define the hierarchy and the decision making process related to the risk management. So, like for example, a bank has a risk management committee that oversee financial risk, delegation of authority, responsibility, and accountability, which means a specific who is responsible for managing risk at the different levels of the organization. Or a project manager is accountable for identifying risk is in the construction project, for instance. And then in terms of the diagram structure, or which is this, we can see how importance of these elements. Okay, risk management framework. Okay, risk management framework, ISO 31000 and COSO ERM, actually when you study about the risk management, this is important to introduce. This is important that this is the two framework being used widely worldwide currently. The first one actually ISO 31000 risk management framework, and the second one actually is about COSO enterprise risk management. They was introduced in 2014, 2004. Sorry, 2004. 31,000 was first introduced 2007. And later on, they have a revision on 2018. ERM 2017. They have a revisions to make it better. So if you understand about the framework, so actually both provide structure approach to managing risk. So how you want to manage risk, you can look into this guideline. So the guideline actually is telling you what you should do next. But managing risk about different focus and application as well. If you look into the ISO 31000 risk management framework, the first one is actually they are developed by the International Organization of Standardization, ISO. They provide the principle of framework and process for managing risk in any organization. So actually they are used globally across industry. So the key component of the ISO, they look into the principle, which is a guideline for effective risk management. Example, the integrations into the business process, structures, approach, informed decision as well. So in terms of the framework, they ensure that risk management is embedded within the organization culture and decision making, whereby the process step for identifying, assessing, tracking, monitoring, and reviewing risk. So why is important? Actually, is help organization and make risk-informed decisions. So it encourages a systematic approach rather than a reactive one, and suitable for the businesses, government, and non-profit organization. Example application in a manufacturing company apply ISO 31000 actually to improve supply chain risk management, actually to ensure that they have a backup supply in the case of disruption. So this is how it being applied in the industry, for instance. So whereby in the COSO 2000, COSO ERM, actually it's an integrated framework. Actually, they're developed by the commissions of the sponsoring organization of the Tradeway Commission, or we call COSO. So COSO actually, there is a several body within the organization, including the IIA. I was the professional members of the IIA, Malaysians. And then also AICPA, Association of Certified Professional Accountants. I also currently the fellow of Capital Institute of Management Accountants and the the global Chartered Global Management Accountants and the AICPA. So commonly used in the financial sector and corporate governance on the course points. So the key component of the eight element of also include the governance and culture, which is the leadership, involvement, and organization culture. It's very important. If you learn about the management, they always taught you we start from the bottom to up, from the bottom to up to the top management. But in executing the risk management, you need to start from the top to the bottom. The instruction must be clear at the top level before execution by the employee at the lower level. So this is a very important. That's why if you look into the risk management framework for the COSO, as well as the ISO 31000, they look into the leadership involvement and organization culture. And then later on, they look into the strategy, objective setting, risk identification, risk assessment, risk response, control activity, information and communication, monitoring and reviewing. So why this important? Because it's integrate risk management into strategic planning. And then it help company to identify risk early to the take proactive action and enhance the corporate governance and compliance. Okay, so if you look into this one, okay, this is the latest development revised ISO 31000 2018. This is what you can see from this diagram. You can see the principle, framework, and process. So this is the principle, this is the framework, this is the process. So this is how you need to process the risk management. So when taking when you look into this risk management, actually it's important to highlight the standard of the ISO 31018 revisions. Actually, they introduce changes to make risk management simpler, more effective, and adaptable to different organizations. So the clearest, simplest principle, ISO 31 2018, refine its risk management principles to be more practical and value-driven. So instead of complex guideline, the update version focuses on creating value, ensuring the management is fully integrated into the business activity. For example, a retail company can use risk management retail, they use the risk management principle to reduce supply chain disruptions, ensuring smooth operation. So the second one actually is stronger focus on the leadership culture. So which means the leadership now play a more prominence. So the play a more prominence um, a role in prominent role in ensuring that risk management embedded into the organization culture and decision making processes. So senior manager must take responsibility for integrating risk management across all departments. For instance, like a bank, for instance, must ensure cybersecurity risks are considered in every financial decision to protect customer data. So a more flexible, number 10 is a more flexible risk management framework. So unlike the previous version, which has rigid structure, ISO 31000 2018 introduced a framework that allowed organizations to customize their risk management approach based on their specific needs. So this means that a hospital may focus more on patient safety risk, while a manufacturing company, there are more priorities operational risk, which is the framework should be tailored to the organization context. So the dynamic and the dynamic and continue for risk management, which is the risk management process is no longer viewed as a one-time activity. Instead of view as a instead organizations must continually assess and update their risk strategy. For example, a technology company facing a cybersecurity threat must frequently review and adapt its risk management measure to fit stay ahead for of the potential attacks. So, and then the greater emphasis of um, greater emphasis on stakeholder involvement. It's a very important also. Risk management is no longer just for top management. It is now required input from all the stakeholders. Employee at all levels should be actively involved in identifying, analyzing everyone and mitigating risk. It is, for instance, like in the construction company, for example, both site worker and manager should collaborate identify safety hazard to prevent workforce accident. So the effective risk communication ensure transparency and practice decision making. So the importance of the ISO 1000 actually you need to understand how ISO 1000 2018 prepared for modern challenge in risk management by focusing on the leadership, adaptability, and continuous improvement. So it encourages organizations to embed risk management into their culture rather than treating it uh, um you still listen my voice? I think something distraction. Is it okay?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay. So this knowledge actually is highly relevant in industries such as business, engineering, healthcare, and governance so forth. So where risk must be actively managed to ensure success and sustainability. Yeah? So this is okay. Now I want to share you actually the overviews of the risk management ISO 31000 because this one is normally being practiced by many organizations worldwide. So when explaining ISO 31000 to 2018, it is important to highlight how the standard provide structures and flexible approach to risk management. So the 2018 revision enhanced the principles, framework, and process to ensure that the risk management is more practical, dynamic, and integrated into the organization cultures organization governance. So the key features of the ISO 31000 2018, the first one, principal, review of the principal risk management, which are the key criteria for its success, which means the principle of risk management as the key to success. So ISO 31000-2018 outlined the principle that ensure effective risk management. So this principle focus on creating and protecting value, which is the risk management should help organization achieve their objective. So being an integrated part of organizational processes, it cannot be separate but embedded in a daily operation. So being structured and comprehensive, which is um, uh, you know, uh, as well as approach ensure better decision making. So which means you're also required to be able to best available information, which is the decision should be made using accurate and reliable data, considering the human and cultural factors, which is the people, attitude, behavior, and organizational culture influence risk management. By following this principle, organization can develop successful and sustainable risk management approach. So the second one, actually, the highlighting the leadership by the top management and integrated of risk management, starting with the governance of the organization, which means that the strong leadership from the top management and integration into the governance. One of the biggest improvement in ISO 31000-2018, the latest one, is the emphasizes on the leadership and governance. Senior management is responsible for driving a risk-aware culture within the organization, ensuring risk management is integrated into the business strategy and decision making, assessing clear responsibility for the risk owners and accountability. For example, in the financial institution, top management should embed risk assessment into the investment decision to minimize financial losses. And then the third one is the greater emphasis on the literature nature of risk management, noting that new experiences, knowledge, and analysis can lead to a revision of the process element, action, and control at their stage of the process, aiming that the continuous and interactive risk management process, which is risk management, is not a one-time activity. It is a must continuously review and improve ISO 31000-2018, which means the stress that risk management is an ongoing process. So you cannot stop when you practice risk management. You should have to prepare risk register as your live document. So it should be recorded and monitoring. Yeah. So because the risk management is an ongoing process where the new risk may emerge every time. So organizations should use the past experiences and new knowledge to update their risk strategy. So each stage of the risk management process should be reviewed regularly based on new finding and changing environment. For instance, in the technology company, cybersecurity risks involve rapidly regular risk assessment and update security manager are needed to protect data and system from new threat. And then the fourth one is streamlining on the context of the greatest focus and sustaining an open system model to fit multiple need and context, which is open system model for the different need and context, which is the ISO 31000-2018. Actually, they provide a flexible framework that can be adapted to the different organization, industry, and regulatory environment. So, which means regardless whatever you're in the company, you can still adapt. So the standard does not offer a strict step-by-step method. It instead provide the guideline that can be tailored based on business operation. So you can adjust the guideline based on your business operation, organizational size and complexity, regularly requirement, market condition. So this means a multinational corporation and small business can both apply ISO 31000-2018, but in the way that suit their respective needs. And then last but not least, actually, is about the significant addition to section on the importance of human and culture factor, leadership and commitment, and embedding risk management with the decision making is emphasizes, which means the human and culture factor is the risk management. So a key addition in the ISO 31000-2018 is the importance of human and culture factor in the risk management. So these factors influence how risks are perceived, communicated, and managed. Leadership and commitment from all levels ensure risk awareness is a part of the organization culture, and the employee involvement is a crucial. People at all levels should continue to identify and mitigating risk, as well as the decision making be guided by the risk management principle to avoid reaction, to avoid reactive, which is short-term thinking. And for example, like in a construction company, safety risk can only be minimized if both management and worker are actively involved in the risk identification and prevention. Why is it important for you to know about this? Because ISO 31000 2018 actually is to provide a modern and dynamic approach to the risk management, making it relevant for students in business, or engineering or finance or healthcare and public administration as well. So understanding this framework will help you to recognize the importance of the integration risk management into the decision making, understand the role of the leadership and organization culture in managing risk, appreciate the need for continued and flexible approach to the risk management. By applying this principle, future professionals can enhance organization resilient, minimize risk, and create value in their respective industry. Okay, so now look into the COSO. The COSO is a definition of COSO definition of enterprise wide risk management. So okay, so enterprise risk management (ERM) or by COSO definition, ERM is a structure and comprehensive approach to mitigate risk across an entire. So this COSO introduced ERM that now we look into for the organization worldwide. So according to the COSO, so COSO is what I say is the Committee of Sponsoring Organization of the Tradeway Commission. Actually, ERM help organization identify, assess, and manage risk in a strategic and proactive way. The key element of COSO is defined by the ERM, which is ERM is a process. It's a process. ERM is not a one-time task, but an ongoing cycle of identifying, assessing, responding to, monitoring risk is embedded in the organization daily operation and decision making. For example, like a manufacturing company consistently monitors supply chain risk to avoid production delay. So it is involved the entire organization. ERM is not just the responsibility of the risk manager. It's involved the board of directors, management, and employee at all levels. So the board of directors set the risk management policy. Because you have to be this to be at the top. You need to set up the risk management policy. So the management ensure that risk strategy are implemented. Employee play is a role in identifying risk in their daily work. For instance, like in a hospital, for instance, doctors, nurses, and administrators must all work together to manage potential safety risks. So applying is the strategy setting. Risk management should not be separate from the business strategy, must be part of the decision-making process. Organization should consider risk when setting goals to ensure long-term success. But most of the time, what we can see, they ignore the function of the risk management to help them to come up with the strategic business plan. We can see, like, for example, like in the bank planning to expand internationally, must analyze the risk like economic instability, regulatory differences, and cybersecurity threat before making a decision. So the two organizations that I consider is very attacked with the risk management. The first one actually is about a company related with the insurance, because normally we thought insurance is a risk management. Actually, insurance actually is just transfer mechanism for risk management decision. But most of the organization that they apply risk management definitely risk company, risk company, insurance company. The second one is a financial institution. So we can say that there are more advanced knowledge uh, by the financial institution, including insurance, to manage their risk. So they are more advanced compared to others organization. So because we understand the situation whereby the risk is very important for the bank, especially like bank planning to expand internationally. So they must analyze risk like economic instability, regulatory differences, and cybersecurity threat before making a decision. And then they also need to identify potential events that may affect an organization, which is ERM actually focus on identifying both internal and external risks that could impact an organization. So what is the internal risk? Actually, internal risks include the operational failure, financial mismanagement, and employee fraud. So example of the external risks include the market competition, regulatory changes, natural disasters, cyber threat. So, for example, like a technology company launching a new product must be anticipated with the risk like a supply chain issue, customer acceptance, and patent dispute. So manage risk within the organization or risk appetite. So every organization has different level of risk tolerance. So some are willing to take higher risk for greater reward, while others prefer a conservative approach. So ERM actually is help organization defines their risk appetite. So the level of risk they are willing to accept. Once the risk level exceeds the acceptable threshold, ERM ensure the corrective action are taken to minimize exposure, to minimize an exposure. So, the airline company, for example, may have a low risk appetite for the safety risk and invest heavily in aircraft maintenance and pilot training. So, providing reasonable assurance is achieving organization objective. ERM does not eliminate all the risks, but it ensures that the risks are managed effectively so that the organization can still achieve its goal. So by using the ERM, the organization can make informed decision, reduce uncertainty, and improve overall performance. So it helps organization build resilient and sustainability in a rapidly changing business environment. So like a retail company, for instance, so they are using ERM can anticipate the customer demand trend and adjust inventory management to avoid stock shortage or excess supply. So we can say that the COSO ERM integrate framework introduced in 2005. Yep. Hello? Yes. So this is the COSO integrated framework. So let me see. Okay. This is RM framework, which is that was introduced in 2004. That was introduced in 2004, which is it is defines is the first introduced in 2004. There are more look into the control part, right? Internet environments, strategic. So this is the control environments, the old cube that been used for COSO, for internet auditing, for controls. But now with the latest one, from the cube, they changed to the spirals. So this is the latest development from 2004 to 2017, COSO Enterprise Risk Management Framework. So actually they're integrating with the strategic and performance. So before you want to set up the vision and you want to identify the missions, then you need to understand what actually is the risk that could fail your goal, that you could fail your in order for you to achieve your objective, and also in order for you to look into how you can handle such situation. So in 2017, the Committee of Sponsoring Organization of the Trade Commission, which is COSO, they released updated version of Enterprise Risk Management Framework. They call like Enterprise Risk Management Integrating with Strategy and Performance. So the revision built in 2004 COSO ERM forward, but provide a more strategic performance focused approach. So to risk management, it help a organization understand how risk affecting strategy, setting decision making, and business performance. So the key element in the 2017 ERM framework, the first one actually there are stronger integration between risk management and business strategy. So this framework ensures that the risk management considered at the start of the strategic planning processes. So which means that company which means that on not just as compliant activity, organizations should evaluate how risk impact their mission, vision, and long-term goal. So somehow people now, when they prepare the mission, vision, so they never look into the risk factors. So they are looking into all these angles. So, like example, in the technology company launching an AI power product, for instance, must assess cybersecurity risk, regulatory concern, and market acceptable before making strategic decision. The second one, we look into the emphasis on the risk and performance management. So the 2017 framework links risk management to the business performance, ensuring that the risk decision driven value creation. So rather than just avoiding risk, organizations are encouraged to take calculated risk that align with their objectives. So let's say, for example, a retail company might take the common expression, balancing a potential reward with the management risk. Okay, so the third one is what we look into the focus on the risk governance and culture. So organization culture play a vital role in how risks are identified, communicated, and managed. So the leadership and governance structures are critical in creating a risk-aware, culture. Example, a bank with a strong risk culture ensures that all employees follow cybersecurity protocol, reduce fraud and cyber threat. So the expanded view of the risk beyond traditional control, what we can say that instead of focusing only on the financial, operational or compliance risk, the framework actually highlight broader category of such as like the reputational risk, which means the brand damage due to the scandal or social media backlash, technology risk, which means the cyber threat automation failure, and then also the sustainable risk, which is related to the climate changes, environment, and traditional. So we can see that from, let's say, I give you an example on the car manufacturing, which is car manufacturer must anticipate and manage reputational risk related to the vehicle recalls or vehicle recalls for radar, which means the flexibility of different organization industry, which is this update framework provide a reflection structure that can be adapted to different industry. So from healthcare to the manufacturing is a lot of organization to customize their risk management approach based on their size, complexity, and risk tolerance. So example, a startup company might use a simplified risk framework, while a multinational corporation implemented detailed risk control. So the core component of the 2017 COSO ERM framework. So the new ERM framework consists of the five interrelated components, which is the governance and culture. If you look here, this is the governance and cultures. Um, Strategic objective setting, and then they look into the performance, and then they look into the revision, and information, communication, and reported. Ensure transparency and knowledge sharing. So why it is important for the students understand the 2017 also ARM actually is framework had you to develop a strategic mindset in the managing risk, and then also to look into learn how to balance risk and opportunity in business, and also to understand the role of the risk governance, leadership, and culture. Again, insight from how modern organization integrate risk management in decision making. Okay, so now we look into what actually HRM is all about. Actually, it's a process affected by the people applying the strategic setting across the enterprise, and then they can be expected to provide more reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance to entities, management and stakeholder, and also geared to the achievement of the objectives. The key elements of the ERM, the first one to emphasize the enterprise and not just selected silo of risk. Silo ni you do on your own. They consider enterprise, all department related. Consider of risk on the portfolio basis and collection in terms of collections of the risk and interactions of the risk. So done to enhance entire value, heavily integrated with the business strategy, focus on identification, measurement, assessment, and response to make primary across two dimensions, which is probability and the critically or consequences or impact. So the key part of the entire corporate governance responsibility of the senior management and board pushes down to the key business segment management. Okay, now we look into the risk management assumptions. So all entities exist to add value to the stakeholder. All entities face uncertainty. Value is created, preserved, and eroded by the management decision. So ERM is an enabler of the management process interrelated to the governance and also interrelated to the performance management. Okay, the goal of ERM actually is to protect the entity from the risk and prevent it from achieving its objective. So increasing the effectivity and effectiveness of operation by decreasing fractional costs associated with the risk and optimizing the allocation of resources and increase opportunity by creating the associated risk within the entire risk appetite. So the increased stakeholder value. So that is a goal. So why risk management is important? Why is important? So the first one is for significant improvement to the organization performance. Second one is organization have a better change of success. The third one is improved organization schedule and cost. The next stakeholder organization numbers must be better understand the nature of the organization. And then also it had to define the strength and the weaknesses of the organization. So key benefit of ERM, the first one to awareness of the risk increase, cross enterprise risk identified, and then also coordinations across business unit for more effective mitigation, and then complete consistent risk information, common risk language established, and shareholder value protected and enhanced. So that is the key. Now, these are a few benefits of ARM. The first one, greater management focus, greater likelihood of achieving objective, more informed decision risk taking, favor surprises, common reportings of the diabetic disparate risk, and then sharing across financial risk, share understanding of the risk and also capability to task on the risk for the risk on the risk for reward. So that is a few benefits. Benefit of ERM. So reduction in the the same this another definition of the ERM. So the benefit of ERM actually is to reduce in management time spent for findings, concise consolidated reporting for disparate risks, and then further crisis, understand the key risks and their wider application, more informed risk taking and decision making, and also seize opportunity and competitive advantage. Okay, benefit of risk management, definitely aligning risk management and strategy, align risk appetite and strategy, and also links the growth, risk and returns, uh, enhance risk response and return, and identify and managing multiple and cross enterprise risk, as well as to look into the improving deployment of capital. So the effective risk management actually is built on the organization that exhibit the following key features. Key stakeholders such as the board and senior management are in the position to confidentially make informed decisions related to the trade-off or risk and reward. And then the daily business decision and the department revision level are made within the context of the organization and tailors to a risk, which is the risk related to the value of organization, intangible assets such as its customer base, supply, intellectual, knowledge, capital, process, and symbol. So this is acknowledged and optimized as full as the physical and financial itself. So they also have to look into the intangible asset. Okay, so now we look into the key success factors for implementing ERM. So why is important that you need to maintain the ERM? The first one is just to provide clear goal and objective. So you now have a very clear goal and objective how this problem will impact your submission, your data. So it's very important. And then establish sponsor and senior management, link of the performance measure composition, and then also drive the approach from the corporate list and head office, and also establish a dedicated corporate function. Okay, what worked well and what you need to improve. Business unit are taking ownership of the risk management, insurance management, communication of the risk, senior management, asset support and development. They are the what work well. But what need to improve is the communication, the education, the grading of their own processes, familiarities and formalities, the process. Okay, comparing the TRM and ERM, the traditional risk management and the enterprise risk management. If you look into the traditional risk management, they look into the grow out of safety and insurance purchases. People thought that insurance is one of the element of risk management, but people do not understand how it actually being reported. And then if you look into the TRM, the more on the growth out of safety. TRM, they focus on emerge from the financial. So, and insurance purchasing, you look into. Okay, so when we look into these the comparisons, and we go for insurance grew out of safety and insurance purchases. So the ERM, the more focus on emerge from the financial to banking industry. The previous one, risk actually is something that bad, but now we look the risk as a bad plus good. And the traditional one, they're framed by the management process, focus on problem solving and reducing and mitigating risk. And whereby the new one, they're framed by the measurement and control processes, focusing on strategic objective. Actually, the traditional risk management, they focus on insurable risk. With ERM, they look into the wide focus on all risks and not only risks that related to the insurance. Okay, common ERM implication challenges. So people thought that risk is the risk of thinking in silo, which means silo means you are talking by your own departments, or you're talking by your control risk and limited to your department, your sections. It's not open to, it's not transparent. Poor integration, consolidation of risk controls function. Employee do not anticipate mode, always reactive to crisis firefighting mode, which is, it means that if anything happen, then you will take action. If no happen, you will not doing anything. But in the risk management, you need to take action before it happens. So they become proactive. This is a reactive mode. And then the complacent with the current performance and skeptical to change. So you understand that your current is very safe, no need to change. And then inability to embed the ERM into the daily process. So you did not able to develop, right? You're not able to embed enterprise risk management into daily process. So the policy, the procedure that you come out, you cannot embed as a part of your responsibility. So when we introduce risk management, for those who have thought that they're embed, which means they thought that is the additional job they need to do. They don't see as the part of their job. So including ERM to staff competency framework, they cannot include the ERM into the staff competency framework because you need to understand that based on my previous experience, the company which don't have any budget for the organization or they don't any budget to mitigate the risk, it's just like the department is not important because they are considered like in business high risk, high returns. The more you spend money to handle your risk, which is you need to spend more. So actually you work on the competency in terms of how to manage those risks. And then also lack of emphasis on action plan, continuing the productivity, and a sufficient attention on strategic risk. Okay, the TRM and ERM actually they start at the bottoms, they start at the top. That's what I said previously. They start at the bottoms. When you start at the bottom, actually it's a good initiative. The low level staff they start something that we need to understand about the risk, but never. But the top management never anticipate, which is and then because it's required budget, it's a required attention then we don't have any support, actually definitely the risk management will fail. So there is importance of how ERM to be stopped at the top instead of the bottom. And then last time the traditional one you report to legal or human resource. But now the ERM should be reported to the CEO as well as the internal audit should be linked, because it's a very important that internal audit actually the concerns about the control. So you must make sure that they're put it in the control to make sure you apply all the requirement. And then risk management policy across organization, which is the ERM mandate establishment. So it should be mandated. Then you give instruction for the top management. Last but not least, accident review committee, safety or risk management committee. And if you look into the ERM, they are interdisciplinary advisory council of risk management steering committee. So the traditional risk management, they are more transactional. They look into the evolution of risk management, which is hazard-based risk identification and control, compliant issue addressed separately, safety emergency might handle separately, purchases insurance to cover risk, and then a silo approach risk, which is risks are not integrated or managed broadly across the organization. So risk management is the insurer buyer. So that is what the traditional risk management, the traditional one. So this is a bad focus on the transferring risk. So everything you need risk, you transfer. The good mechanism for transfer is insurance. Okay, so when we look into the advanced risk management, so advanced risk management, they look risk as expenses, costs, right, that you need to overcome. Focus on managing risk. So this is the advanced risk management. It's a better than traditional, but it's a required, but the understanding is a risk as a part of the expenses that you need to spend more, which is a more proactive about preventing and reducing risk, integrate claim management, contract review, special risk management prevention, training, insurance, and risk transfer technique. And the cost allocation used to educations and accountability, lower insurance costs over time. So more collaboration is help and willing. Risk manager may be the risk owner. And then now we look into the enterprise-wide risk management. It's a strategy. Last time it's integrated, evaluation from the risk management. Now we look integrated with the risk management. Now we look into the strategy. Risk is a strategy focused on optimizing risk, which is The wide range of risks are discussed and reviewed, including the personal, human capital, strategic, and operational. A line risk management process with the strategic and mission may include upside risk, opportunity, manage growth, and allocates capital and resources. Risks are owned by all mitigated at the department level. Many risk mitigation tools available. Risk manager is the risk facilitator and leaders. So this is how you need to participate in risk management as a facilitator and leader, because risk is you as the risk manager. You need to manage your own risk. Okay, this is how we can see, we can illustrate to this illustration. You can start with the traditional, you look into the integrating and the strategic. So this is about the risk management evolutions. And then this is the latest development about risk management. It was revised from ISO 31000 2018 and updated COSO ERM. So Malaysia also have a code of corporate governance starting 2017, also on the risk management. Amendment to Bursa Malaysia Security Berhad Bursa requirement, which is all the companies should manage their risk management, regardless ISO, COSO. They need to find a way how the organization manage their risk management. Most of the time, if you look to annual report in Malaysia, they are normally follow the ISO 31000. And then corporate liability section 70A MACC Act, and actually the enforcing on the corruption risk management, which is you need to prepare the risk management for corruption in order to avoid being charged under Section 70 Capital under MACC, the corporate liabilities. So I see, Security Commission Malaysia guideline on Malaysia of cyber risk is the latest one. So this is the latest development in Malaysia, as well as in the international that where we focus on number one. The rest, I think I zoom it more on Malaysia from perspective. That's all. Thank you, everyone. Uh, okay, you want to continue for chapter 3 or we can start tomorrow?
We
Okay.
can start tomorrow. It's okay.